Okay. Hey, assholes.
What's up?
Hey.
Okay, so today's show is going to be about, obviously, the art of malediction, which, for those of you who don't know, is curses, hexing, all that lovely, delicious stuff. But before we address that, you know how I like to rant. So I'm going to talk about something that I experienced this week. Someone came to me, and I appreciate people, coming to me saying, "Hey, something might be said about you, or something's going on," and I appreciate that. And so, thank you for bringing that to me. Um, Someone brought some drama to us, and it's like, whatever, we're not really into that, and I don't really feel that it was really about us per se. I mean, I don't know. Uh, but whenever anyone comes to me with drama, all I'll do is go to the source. I don't like this he said, she said shit. I will go directly to the person and I'll say, hey, is there a problem, or what's going on? If I don't know something that is going on, if I can't, address it myself, I can't address it myself if I don't know what's going on. So I did. I talked to these people, and it was fine. It was cool. Everyone is entitled to their opinion if you watch the show. If you don't watch the show, then you really can't form an opinion because you don't know what's going on. But it really doesn't matter, because if there's any issues, I will go directly to the source and I will fix it, or I will talk about it, because that's what adults, who have respect, do. I'm not going to make a video about it. I will address it on the show because it's important to do that. But it's cool. The people are awesome. They do their thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think that unnecessary drama was trying to be started, and it's not going to be. We're fine. And like I said to these individuals, we each have our own type of way of expressing ourselves, and we have a different type of people that we address. And so what I say and how I express myself is not going to be taken always nice, always great by the people that they attract. We all attract different people, and that's fine. So if anyone wants to bitch about this show, or if anyone wants to say anything negative, that's fine. But if you have a problem, or if you don't like what we're doing, most likely we're not going to change it. But just come to me directly. If you don't like something, come to me, talk to me, and I will talk to you, and that's cool. I honestly don't think that there's anything that I would change about this show and how anyone here expresses themselves. I don't feel like we are belittling anyone. I don't feel like we are trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable, at least on purpose, maybe each other. But you have to realize that when you watch the show, you have to watch it with a sense of humor. We joke about everything, and I laugh about everything. I laugh at everyone, and I laugh about everything, so there's no discrimination going on there. I don't care who you are, I'll laugh at you. It's just the way it is. And I guess I also was called homophobic because I think it's because I said the gays. And I'm gay, if you obviously didn't know that yet. Don't know how, but I'm not homophobic. I don't really, whatever. I hate the gays just as much as I hate the straights. It's all good.
It's equal opportunity hate.
I am. I don't. Anyways, I just want to say there's really no drama, and if you have issues, just come to me. It's cool. We can talk it out. And my video just went crazy. Anyways,
okay.
That's all I had to say on that subject.
I have a little bit more to say.
I know.
I always do. So, yeah, we are here to piss you off, and you should be pissed off by the people who try to control you and condone you for practicing the way that you want to and feeding you the misinformation. And that is why we started this show. The group and the page and this show is to give people a place to talk without being judged and controlled. And we know we aren't everybody's flavor, and we don't try to be. We are here to talk about how we practice and give you a different perspective. And if you don't like us, turn us off, but don't try to start problems without getting to know us first. Because it's kind of like, you know, love us or hate us, we're here. So we are still doing our giveaway, and our giveaway is for a custom Oddling Poppet from Mrs. Oddly's Curious Craftings, and once we get 500 subscribers, we will pick a winner from the people who comment on the videos. So you have to comment and be subscribed, and interact with us. And this is Carrick, and he has a little, which he had. This is my custom that I got. And from the custom, from when I actually talked to her and ordered it and paid for it to when it came to my door, was only 2 weeks. She makes these dolls by hand, and they're spirited, so they have a spirit infused in them. They are haunted, however you want to put it, but it's towards your intention. It's not a random spirit. It works towards what you want it to be. So this is my little witchy guy.
The hat.
I love him to death, and he's a healer and a magical helper. So when he's a healer, he's just kind of crazy and wild and feathers in his hair, and when he's doing magic, he's like super serious magic dude. So he's got like 2 different parts to his personality. It's true. So some people are not going to be able to, for whatever reason, not able to use the Q&A option here on YouTube. So there is a post in our Deviant Witchery group. If you cannot option, post there. I will monitor it during the show, and that is for questions. Yeah. So now I want to introduce Nimbus River.
Special guest.
Him and I both work, well, it's not work, but we both post videos on Witches of the Moon.
Work.
Which is a collaboration. It is work. It is a collaboration channel on YouTube where we talk about various topics. And Nimbus is actually my co-host for Wednesdays. And the new season will be starting in September. We asked him to join us today because we all think in a very similar manner. And we respect his opinions and the discussions that he has put out in the Deviant Witchery group. So we thought he'd be a good asset for this week. And that's all I have.
What do you mean? Don't you have more?
No, that was 2 pages worth of writing. That was enough.
Wow, you came all prepared and organized and shit. Yeah, last week when thinking about this topic, I'm like, I know someone who should be a part of this. You popped into my head, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna ask. We have to do it. But yeah, I don't really. This is gonna sound horrible. I don't look up to a lot of witches, a lot of practitioners, because a lot of people just don't really catch my eye. The words that they express, just really don't. And Nimbus, you do. And so that's why I'm like, he'd be cool to have here, because I think his opinion and his perception is, this is going to sound bad, is really worthy of the type of work that we're trying to do here. And so that's why that is happening.
Awesome.
So, we're talking about curses, malediction, all that great stuff today. Why?
Yeah, we covered free will and karma and all that crap last time, so we're not going to be talking about any of that stuff. If you want to know our views on free will and karma and why you should not do bad stuff to people, go watch that video. So, yeah. All right.
Okay. So I'll just ask everyone, when you're going through the process of deciding whether you need to implement a curse, what goes through your mind? Like, do you do it instantly? Do you know that you need to do it at that time? Or do you kind of like plot and plan all of it?
Yeah, I never plan. If I curse somebody, it's probably because I'm pissed off. I mean, and I use that emotional energy to I don't know, fuel my. We were talking about it, I think, in the chat last night. Kind of fuel the magic that you're going to work. So I rarely plan a curse. I know that sounds terrible, and people are like, no, they're long, drawn out process. No, they're not. Yeah, not for me. They're not anyway. Um, example. Okay, I know this is bad, but I have a temper. So I work in funeral service. So most people in funeral service, tend to respect the funeral directors. Then you get the assholes. So I think it was Monday, I was working outside parking cars to line up for the procession, and we do things a little retarded down here in the South. But anyway, he pissed me off. He gets out, and I tell him to part with the family because he says he's family, and he was very outwardly rude to me, and it just takes that little bit for me. And he kind of was just like, I'm going to park where I want, and I don't really care what you're saying. So, well, it pissed me off, and I had nothing to really curse or hex him with. So I was like, well, a good witch can always work with nothing and make it work. Whatever's in their environment, they can get. And I've always heard, and I've used in the past, and it's funny, last week we were talking about bodily fluids in the craft. I think you posted about urine, which I hate urine. I'll never use it. It's gross. I can't stand urine. But anyway, saliva. I've always heard that a witch's saliva can either curse you or bless you, depending on what the witch's intent for it to be is. And I was like, well, I got some spit. So so basically what I did was I charged some saliva with negative energy to attract the negative energy, and I put it under his car handles, like one on the passenger side, one on the driver's side. And then and I believe in the laws of magic, so according to the law of sympathy, whatever happens to the rest of that saliva will transfer itself, in the same. So I put it on a poison ivy bush thing. So I was like, of course, incantation and whatnot, but yeah. So it was. I had nothing, and I made it work. So yeah, I've never planned, to answer your question. It's always whatever I have. The ones that I plan, I don't feel like they're not as powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a little bit more of a. I don't know. I'm a little bit more of a planner. I like to figure out what I'm. It's more with somebody that has been causing me grief for some time. Not a one-on-one encounter like you just described. So I will, for that instance, I figured out what I wanted to do, what I wanted to happen. This is somebody who's going to be in my life for a while, but I don't want them to have as much say in it. And so I did what I needed to do, and I did plan it out, and things never go as they are supposed to. So it was actually Nimbus who suggested I use alum in the I did a lemon jar vinegar curse, and I think I used the whole chunk of alum instead of half of it because it just all kind of fell in. So I just kind of dealt with it. So in that case, you kind of have to go with the flow, even though everything else was planned out, and then I'll just have to go buy more alum. That's all there is to it.
His mouth just shut. It clamped shut at that time.
Yeah, it hasn't bothered me since then, to be totally honest.
Alan's powerful, I love it.
Wow, there's some crazy ass witches over here. They're so devious. I am not a planner either. I don't like planning. I agree also that when I plan, at least with this type of work, it really hinders me. I mean, there are certain things that I can plan for because I am pissed off of at enough where I can channel that fuel even if I just think about it. That's different. I can plan for that because I know that I have that source and I'm passionate about the cause. But usually when I'm going to do a hex or curse, I will do it at that time. I don't wait. There's no point in waiting because I already know that I'm going to do it. So you have the power, you have that emotion like driving you, so why not take advantage of it? People say you need to wait and think, you have to wait and think, you have to, wait 3 days and think about it. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not waiting for shit. I am going to curse this bitch, and that's it. I know that I need to do that. I know that I can do that. And there's no point in waiting when you already know that 3 days later you're going to do the same thing. You just wasted this powerful energy source by waiting. Another thing that I want to say about this, is that people can only give you advice from their perspective. They have a filter through their beliefs, their patterns, anything that they give you, they're giving you from their own view. So when someone tells you, no, you have to wait 3 days, that's from their view. That's from their experience. If you feel justified, if you feel correct in doing this working, then you have to do it. You have to trust your gut, because just because someone says not to doesn't mean that means no for you. That's no for them.
Mm.
So
I think it depends on the situation, because the last time when I did it, it wasn't an urgent thing for me. It was, all right, I do have time. I knew what I was going to do. I had a little bit of time, so I took the time to get the supplies that I needed. And I actually did it very calmly, and that was the only time I've done a spell calmly, so it was a little different for me.
That's creepy.
And and then all the alum falls in, and I'm like, crap! But it is what it is. But that was the first time I've actually done something like that was planned. And I like to use the days, so if I can use the days, Tuesdays and Saturdays, I will. If I can't, I don't have to. But if I'm already planning it out, I try to use it on the day that I want to do it on. So that's how I do it that way.
That's really creepy. A calm bitch is a very scary thing, even when it comes to witchcraft. This, I guess, would go into. Someone asks, at what point do you decide the need to curse the fuck out of a bitch? What other avenues, if any, would you explore first? So before you curse someone, is there anything else that you consider before you do so?
You choke them first, and if that doesn't work, then you can curse them. It depends on the situation. It depends on how close they are to you, if they're family, if they're coworkers, if they're across the world. I mean, that's really a personal thing. I don't have a set answer for that.
I don't really either. I guess it's always different, but I feel like people feel sorry for like normal, like mundane people, and I don't. There's no sympathy there for them. Sorry. I mean, the way I look at it is, someone uses any resource they can to get back at somebody if they want to.
Right.
The way I look at it is, I don't know. I use my magic because that's what I have. So I mean, I could use brute force if I wanted to. But I mean, then you get arrested.
That's just not cool.
So, yeah, it's just not. So no, I don't. I just don't always. I don't know. There's not a. What was the question? An appropriate time to curse someone?
Yeah, when do you?
Can we do a show? Can we do a show on jail witchcraft? That sounds like that would be a very interesting show.
Jail
witchcraft. Did you watch Orange is the New Black?
I don't know about that one.
Yes.
I'm sure personal concerns would be a big part of that.
Yeah, she's like a little mini Santana.
They use a tampon string for a candle wick. You have to watch it.
I don't use tampons.
Well, you also wouldn't be in a women's prison either.
I hope not. Okay. And I thought I was an asshole. Sheesh. No. I think it's personal. It really is personal. When you decide to curse someone, it's not like you just, they pissed me off. I don't know if I should curse them, but maybe I will. No, and when you're gonna curse someone, you know that you're gonna curse them. You have that sensation, like deep in your gut, like you feel it. You know, your spirit tells you. The spirits tell you. You just know. I mean, for me, I know. Like, I know if this person's going to get cursed or not. Like, I don't think there's a question about if they're going to get cursed. It's just either how severe. You know, it's not like, oh, are they going to get cursed? No, so they're going to get cursed, but how severe do I want it, and how devious and crafty do I want to get?
I mean, if somebody is... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
If somebody is messing with you, you're not going to wait a year to curse them. You're going to take care of it as quickly as possible, depending on the severity of the situation. I really don't believe in how long can you wait? How much abuse can you deal with? So I think people don't curse quick enough sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're pansies.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm
sorry, I don't want to offend anybody.
You don't want to
Too
offend
late.
anybody? You're on the wrong show. You're on the wrong spot.
Oh, yes.
No, I think if you don't really know if you're going to curse someone, like then you need to just think, okay, how best can I achieve results in this situation? What do I want to achieve? And then if you can do a banishing, if you just need someone to go away, then get them away, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you can do it in a different way, and you're already questioning whether you don't know if you want to do a curse or not, do it in a different way. Because if you question your curse, you don't do it. Just don't do it. I don't think that there should be any sort of question in that experience. Like, you shouldn't be able to say, oh, I don't know if I should do it. No, you don't know, do something else.
But
and
I
don't
feel
bind
like,
anybody.
yeah, I was about to say that. Like, I think people, as far as malediction goes, that they won't curse, but then they'll bind somebody. That makes no sense to me. Binding, in my opinion, is worse because
I agree.
It just is. It entails the witch that does the binding. People don't realize how much energy. Well, I mean, if you've ever done a binding, you know the energy that it takes to. You're tired afterward. I am anyway. And then afterwards, like, it's almost like another. It's like an extension of yourself that you think about constantly, because I think that there's a piece of you inside of every binding that you do, and it's such a waste of energy. And I don't know. It's supposed to be permanent. Like, that's the way I feel about it. I mean, and I've had to reverse. I very rarely reverse curses, but I reverse bindings because it's just too much. It's just way too much.
Well, that's what binding is for. It should be long lasting. You don't want to bind something for 2 days. You know, binding's bullshit. I think they come in handy. They're very necessary, but you shouldn't be binding left and right like crazy. You know, it's just people. A lot of witches have a misunderstanding of binding, burnish. I can't fucking talk. Binding versus banishing. You know, they think that banishing is binding. I get so confused because people are like, well, I bound this person from doing this. No, you can't really. How do you do that? You banish. You want to banish something. You want to get something away. If you don't want them to be attracted to something, you want to get rid of it. To me, again, I agree. Binding is far more severe than a curse can be, because it just takes so much to retain all that. It's just crazy that how many people will do a binding before they'll do a curse.
And I know you've given this example before. I'm sure a lot of people have watched The Craft and seen at the end Nancy goes batshit, and it's because she's bound. But binding makes you crazy. I also not just with this. A lot of people I've seen lately want to bind psychic gifts and bind their children from seeing spirits or different things, and that is extremely dangerous too. That doesn't really go with this topic, but it goes with binding. I always give the example of the movie Frozen, which everybody probably has seen. I've even told my own kids this because my son told me that Elsa is dangerous, and I told him Elsa is dangerous because she was not taught how to use her powers. You need to be taught how to use your powers and to control them. Don't bind your children. Don't bind people from their abilities. Teach them how to work with them.
Well,
because they will go batshit like Nancy did.
Yeah, you want batshit crazy. Kids are already crazy, so don't fuck with that. But it's yeah, I don't get why people do it. Like, what was said to make people think that binding is easy and should be taken lightly, whereas cursing is, you can't ever curse someone, but you can bind the fuck out of these people. I don't really understand what happened or why people believe that. You can go crazy, and people do go crazy often. Look at all these fucking witches; they're damn crazy. A lot of people are like, I mean, seriously though, you invest so much into that work, and then that part of you sticks. You're constantly in that person's life. You want to get rid of someone, but you bound them, but you're now automatically with them forever, or until that's reversed, if you ever even remember that you did it. So that part of you, that essence, gets taken with them, and they get stuck in that situation that you put them in because they're bound. So they're not going to be improving their life because it's fucked up and you contained them. So it's just, you're a part of you that you try to get away from, like that situation you try to get away from, you just rooted yourself in. And it's not going anywhere, and that's why people go crazy.
They can also feed off of the binding. They can feed off of you through the binding. Even if they are a non-witch, they don't realize that they're doing it. But if it's happening to you, the witch, you can feel it and you know that it's happening. So that is another thing. You're not purposefully, but you are draining. Your energy is being drained through that way. So that is another reason why you should not do a binding. And they don't even know what they're doing because they don't know that you did it, and they're not magically inclined. So it's even more dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how do we figure out if we've been cursed or if a client has been cursed? How do you figure that one out?
I call Miss Cleo.
You mean you channel Miss Cleo? You don't call her, you channel her. Because you need to use tarot, which I know is what you're talking about. You need to use tarot if that's your. You need to use divination. You don't have to use tarot, but tarot is. I forgot my cards. I was gonna bring my cards.
I have a ball. I have a ball. I have.
Do you scry with it?
Oh, awesome! Death is the first card. Fucking awesome.
I was gonna bring my Deviant Tarot, and I completely forgot. One of the things I learned a long time ago was you take 5 cards, make sure one of them is the Magician card, and you're gonna shuffle them, and you're gonna concentrate on "Am I cursed?" or whatever you want to do. And depending on where the Magician lays in the layout is a yes or a no. So if the Magician is the first card, yes, somebody has done magic against you, and if it's the last card, it's definitely no. And I've done this a couple times when I felt a lot of negative energy towards me, and it's always been the second to the last card. So I took that as this person, who I knew who it was, this person was just directing a lot of negative energy to me, and that's why I had felt it. It wasn't done on purpose, but I didn't pick it up.
Sorry.
So that is one of the things that I use. Also, from the Lucky Mojo show, when Catherine Ironwood does her readings with it, she uses the Rider-Waite Tarot, and it seems like a lot of the times if swords come up, and especially the 2 of Swords, which is where the lady has the swords crossed and her eyes are covered. I was going to bring the card so I didn't have to do that. She says that is a good indication that somebody has been crossed or bound. So I wanted to put that out there too.
Yeah.
So what about you guys?
Sorry, I'm looking for the card.
I mean, I'm not very good with like energy work and filling out energy, so I like to use the cards.
Oh, you don't like to feel, huh? What the hell? Oh, it's like the last card. This one, bitches.
Of course.
Yep.
That one.
I actually was reading something last night that you get a regular playing deck, and you basically shuffle the deck, and then you start laying the cards out. When you come to an ace, and you stop. I think you take like 10 cards or whatever. I can't remember. Basically, there's 3 stacks of the deck, and the second stack you keep going until you find an ace, or you get to I think a few cards. I can't remember how many. And then the third one, same thing. If you get 3 aces, then either you're fucked or you're not fucked. I can't recall. Sorry, people, but look it up. But it was,
I remember seeing that too, but I don't remember where it was.
yeah, and basically it was if you got 3 of these, you either were fucked or not, and then if you got less and less, it was okay, maybe not, and then really not. I'll find the link to it and I'll post it. Sorry, but basically,
Michael always does.
Sorry, people.
Oh,
but if you have a system like what you just expressed, if you have it, you lay it out, you program it, you stick to it, then that's going to work for you. It's hard for me to tell people they're cursed or not, just because of all the shit that comes along with it. I don't know. I just have I'm hesitant about telling people that they are cursed. I've seen it a few times, but
I think it goes to people's heads.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, so I can see it, I can feel it, and I'll watch for it, but I will probably word it differently. You know, say, well, we need to work on this, or we maybe do something to get rid of this. Just depending on how severe it is, I will word it differently. I won't say, hey, bitch, you're cursed. We gotta get the demons out. You know, we gotta get the Bible. We gotta do some shit over here because you have issues. Someone hates
Or demons.
It's the demons always. I just say that because I just talked to a customer who went to a reading and the lady told her that she was cursed and had demons and she got to get the demons out. She got to get the demons away. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I have issues with telling people that they're cursed, because of all the negative associations with that. And then if it goes wrong, like, you know, if they don't follow through with something you say, or if they can't get rid of it, or something goes wrong, they're back at you. And so a lot of issues can happen. But I use cards. I use my Rider-Waite. I will scry. I will look at the crystal, or even really just channel and talk directly and say, hey, what's going on? I'll tune into the person, see their energy, look for anything that's kind of misplaced. And sometimes you can find a curse rooted into them, into their aura. So you can follow that cord and travel back to the individual and get more information that way. But that's kind of how I do it. But yeah, that's what I do.
Another thing is if you are convinced that you are cursed and you've done these avenues where you've done your reading, or you went to somebody like Michael who did whatever he does, and they say, no, you're fine, and you are convinced this is why all this bad stuff is happening to you, you are cursed. In essence, you are cursing yourself. Your mind, that's you're putting it on yourself, and you need to stop, because your negative thoughts and emotions will make bad stuff happen to you. And also, it may just be your mentality. Maybe these things look very negative as you're looking at them, but they're actually some kind of lesson or blessing that you really need to get and to just look at in a different light.
So, Nimbus, is there anything that you look for if someone comes to you say, hey, I'm cursed, or I think I'm cursed? Is there anything that you've noticed or you do to find out if someone is?
I don't use a lot of divination. So I do and I don't. It depends on what you're considering like the tools or divination, like tarot. I've just started studying tarot, like 6 months ago. So I'm not big on tarot decks or oracle decks. I don't really like oracle decks at all. I feel like no matter what card you pull, it can somehow be about your life. So they're very vague. And anyway, I will channel spirit. That's what I do.
Yeah.
If I have spirit is who I go to, and that's such a vague term. It could be more than one spirit. I'm not totally sure. They're not named, and they're very non-specific. But I'll go outside. Normally, I do my work outside. So at night, I will channel spirit, and if I feel like I am cursed, I will, or someone's trying to curse me, then the answer's normally completely clear. However, if there's like a client, which that doesn't happen to me very much, people come to me, but it's about a lot of times it's like bullshit that I don't even want to talk about. But if someone comes to me and they're like, I think I'm cursed, well, if I know that person personally, I can sit down with them and, obviously certain things have symptoms. I mean, if your life went from like riches to rags in 2 days, probably. Or it could be because you're stupid and make terrible decisions in life, and this is why it's happened. So, I'm very hesitant about making the judgment on cursing and like, oh yeah, you're cursed. Because Blythe, you're right. I mean, people, when they hear that they're cursed, like everything in life is because of the curse. Everything, they stubbed their toe, they, skipped a step going down, from work. It's just, their credit score went down 2 points. I mean, everything is because of the curse. And I just feel like, first of all, it takes a witch to know what the hell they're doing to curse somebody. You don't just, you're not, it's not some of these like, and it's not the newbies. A lot of newbies don't know how to curse, and if they do, I'm not going to say that they're not doing it right. They're doing it for them, but
They're doing it for Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of Hollywood, man. It's just that I just feel like a lot of people. First of all, they don't know how to curse, so curses are more rare than people think they are. And I feel like in our community, the witch community right now, everybody wants to throw around that word like, oh, you've been cursed, you've been cursed, you've been cursed. No, chances are you're not. You're having a shitty week, and it happens. You're not cursed. Now, there are things that will lead me to believe that someone is cursed, but it's few and far between, and I'm not going to make that judgment immediately. I'm going to work with somebody for a long time before I'm like, yeah, you're cursed.
Yeah.
So,
if bad shit starts happening to you, do a cleansing. Cleanse your house, cleanse yourself.
Absolutely.
And more than likely, things will get better.
Sometimes it's just negative energy that you have came in contact with, or you have stirred up in your house, because witches need to do housekeeping regularly. We as people, I feel like, harbor a lot of energy. Wherever we go, we pick up on it and we take it with us a lot of the times. And that shit can get up in your house, and I mean, and everybody that comes in contact with your house, can feel very negative vibes. And do a floor wash, do a even like a cleansing bath. I mean, if you're really wanting to piss Michael off, just post that you've saged your house. Get some Florida water. That shit's amazing. Make a clean.
Love Florida water.
Thanks. But I mean, get some stuff, cleanse your house. Chances are it's not a curse. I don't know. Don't jump for that. Yeah, Florida water. Holla.
Yeah, after we talked about Florida water during your first show, a lot of people went out and bought it. I was very surprised, but it was. You started like a Florida water revolution. It was awesome.
I put Florida water in my all-purpose cleaner, like that I clean like the countertops and stuff with, or my wife does. Every bottle that she picks up and she's cleaning the stove and cleaning the sink and whatever, it has Florida water in it. She may not know it, but it does. I mean, everything. So I use it for anything and everything. If I'm sick, I'll put it in my bath water. I mean, I love that shit.
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to understand, like, before you get all crazy and say you're cursed, there are things that you can do beforehand to really make that more clear. Do your grounding, do your cleansing, get rid of shit, clear yourself and align your body and mind and spirit before you really make that assumption. And again, like you said, we do attract energy everywhere we go. And so when we bring it home, if we don't clean, it stays there. And when people come in, they feel that. They're like, oh, this doesn't feel right. Their negative attitude, their negative energy and thoughts add to that, stays in the house, but then it goes out with them, and they're putting shit out there about your place or you that really doesn't need to be there. They're not thinking about it consciously, really. So you have this long thing that's traveling all over the place, and it's not a curse. It's just negative energy and bullshit because you can't clean. You know, you don't know that you really need to do your foundation work. But that's important. People just really don't. People are stupid. And I said it. I said stupid. I don't care. People are stupid.
I agree. Here.
Yeah, it's common sense. What happened to common sense witchery, really? Where
if you have your in-laws in your house and everybody's been fighting all weekend, cleanse your shit like after they go home, or even when they're sleeping. I mean, you gotta do something. You gotta clear the air because other people's stuff is gonna stay in your house too. And if you have negative people like that in your space, you need to get rid of them. Don't bind them. Banish them. Get rid of them.
Speaking of binding, sorry, but I wanted to say this person posted. Where'd she go? People seem to think that binding comes from a place of compassion, whereas cursing comes from a place of malevolence, which is a serious misconception. And I think that's true. You know, people do think binding is compassion. They're doing the good thing. And where cursing is like, oh, bitch, I'm going to fuck you up. Which, true, it is. You know, bitch, I am going to fuck you up. But binding is not compassionate. I don't, you know, people do think that, and that's why they do it. But it's the fucked way of thinking.
It's like locking somebody in a closet. Is locking somebody in a closet being compassionate? No.
Binding's like mommy dearest.
Punch them in the face is more compassionate than putting them in prison. I mean,
I was thinking of Carrie, how Carrie's mom locked her in the closet. I mean, I didn't see Mommy Dearest, but I saw Carrie.
You need to watch Mommy
Dearest. Scarier than Carrie.
It is. Watch it. You have to watch it. You can get some good shit from that. Anyways, there is another question that was posted that I want to talk about. Let's see. Kate Large asks, can we use malediction as a positive force, not against people who piss us off, but against corrupt governments, exploitive companies destroying the earth, officials ordering the death of thousands by war? Can we effectively curse evil? Can we use malediction against war, homophobia, crime, famine? Can we curse a concept? And if so, how would we go about it? That is a lot of... Kate, you're talking a lot.
First of all, if you are in the Deviant Witchery group, you do know that we have something that is against abusers. That's all I'm going to say about it. You have to join the group to find out about that. But yes, that is something that we are working on. Yes, I can see how you can use malediction to damn the man.
Okay, I've got to plug up my phone. It's gonna die. So I'm gonna. Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. What I will say is, I think it's possible. You know why you can. But at the same time, if you're going to do that, you need to get a group of witches together to do that, because governments, all this shit is so massive. Mm-hmm. You know, it's so big that you're working, it might not take effect, or it might not take effect for quite a while. But if you have enough people backing you, and also if you're going to curse something like this, or government, or a big situation, then find the smallest part of that experience, find the smallest, you know, like the little man on the totem pole, and start there. You know, you don't want to curse this, like, big old company and start with the head dude. You want to start where it's going to really affect them. The head dude, whatever. You want to start with their little workers. Or you want to start with something small that is going to put a huge impact on the company itself. Because if you start too big, especially if you start too big, especially when it comes to government or big companies, you won't see results fast. And I think part of having good work is when you see a result, and that builds confidence. So you want to start somewhere where you know you're going to be able to see results soon. So I have no.
I know I've heard. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I have heard that during, Hitler's reign, that there was a group of witches, I believe it was in the England area, got together and did some stuff to try to take him down. So it definitely can be done, but you should definitely be doing it in a group. If you're doing a big group, it should be with a big group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not as, like, one witch is not as, I'm not going to say that one witch couldn't do the work. I guess that it could be done, but there are power in numbers, obviously, because a group, a malicious group didn't rise out of just one person. It was, 5 that turned into 10, that turned into 20, and so on. So, I mean, if you really want to make a difference, start out, if you want to make a difference, find someone else that does, maybe your numbers will grow and grow and grow until, you are making a bigger impact magically on whatever order. And you got to remember that even if it's not seen, a lot of times these larger than life groups have certain things working in their favor too magically. I mean, it goes back to the kings and queens of, like, medieval Scotland and England. I mean, they had court, like, wizards and court, Dr. D and stuff like that would, that were advisors but also protectors. So, I mean, I personally believe that anybody that's got anywhere, not like Illuminati status or anything like that, but, like, I feel like they have things working in their favor too magically. So you have to remember that. You don't want to you don't want to pick a fight with. You think that they're just mundanes, but you don't know who in that company is not.
Right.
So you don't want to take on too much.
That's true.
Absolutely. I think that's where this is where planning would be really, really good, because for something like this is a huge task. Planning would be great for this. I don't think that this is something spur of the moment, because, like you said, you have to figure out who is involved. So that's where divination comes in. Like, are there other magical key players helping this company, this government, whatever? What's going on, and how can I slip through? How can we as a group, because it should be group work, how can we slip through and create change? How can we take them down? How can we do whatever we do to achieve the results we want? That is definitely something that would take a lot of preparation. And you're right, you don't want to get caught in the crossfire, because if you're just doing something and then you don't realize there's other magical individuals involved, it's their job to take you down.
Exactly.
And so you're fucked. That's not good.
Have you guys talked about, and I'm not trying to get off topic, but have you guys talked about booby traps? Like, as far as malediction goes? Like, when you cast a curse, if you're casting against another magical practitioner, are you getting them, or are you getting their trap that they have ensnared you in? And then, witches' bottles are good. I call them protectors, but like dead animals that have come into your life to kind of watch over. I know that's probably weird, but I have like a turtle. He's dead, dried out turtle that sits on the front porch. He's cool. He's wicked awesome. I love him. But he's my protector for negative energy. I mean, that's what I invoked him to do, I should say. Obviously, the dead turtle's not going to do anything if you don't make it do something.
Absolutely. We have... I don't even know how to respond to that one.
Sorry. I like dead things.
I like dead things too. It's okay. We have not talked about that, and this is going to probably be another offensive thing that I say. I honestly don't think many witches today are even that smart to do shit like that. people, like, even like with witch bottles, they don't understand that that's what it's meant to do. They just think, oh, it's protection. They don't really program it or work with the spirit of all these things to really have that full effect. And I think it's important. Like, for me, I work with hounds. I have a lot of different spirits and a lot of different protections in place. So if something is thrown at me, it goes through like all these different filters. So if this line doesn't take care of it, then this line will. If that line doesn't take care of it, this line will. And if that shit gets through, I want to meet the person.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it's important to have all those things in place. But you have to really program it, like you said. You have to work with it and make sure that it's done correctly. And it's done, period, you know?
Yep.
And you can get really creative with booby traps. Witchy traps.
There we go.
Them. They're genius. And people don't use them. I mean, you're talking like medieval witches found the value in them, and then you've got like fucking 2014 and no one uses them. It's so stupid. Oh, yeah. But they're not taught to either. So when they go to a website and they do what?
Nobody wants to cause harm or affect free will or any of that other stuff.
Heaven fucking forbid we affect free will or personal gain. Ooh, be careful.
Yeah, that too. I think that's why they're not utilized enough, is because of all this watered down stuff that everybody is being force fed.
Yep.
Okay. So someone asks, after cursing someone, let's say you curse someone within a family, like one of your family members, which, you know, hello, it happens, whatever. Fuckers. Is it a good idea to use protection spell on the rest of the family within that house?
Oh, that is something I wanted to talk about last time, but my internet kept crapping out. A lot of the times people want to do a curse on somebody, but they're like, oh no, they have kids or a dog or whatever it is. There's innocent people that are involved. You protect the innocent, and then you fuck the guilty. That's basically how you have to do it, and I have done it myself. You do your protections for the individual people, and then you do whatever you want to do to the person that's pissing you off. It doesn't matter if it's family or friends or whatever it is.
Yep. And don't feel bad if you didn't take precautions and you send a curse in the direction of someone. And, you know, if you got a witch in a house and there's only one witch, chances are that witch is protected in some way. But the people that also live in that house aren't necessarily magically protected. And, well, if they live with a good witch, they are. But if they live with an idiot, then no. And so what that curse will do was, well, it won't affect that witch, but it will go somewhere. All energy has to go somewhere.
Right.
And, you know, it'll affect whatever it can get its hands on. And don't feel bad after you've done it, because you fucking done it. And then it's kind of like, you know, don't be... Curses get bad reps because the people that are cursing them, in general, they don't take their precautions. They don't protect the people around the person that they want to attack. They just attack. They go about it so stupid and not strategically.
Yeah.
And then they blame karma. That's not karma. You're being an idiot.
Has anyone really read? Has anyone read Dharma and Karmic, like Dharmic and Karmic laws? Like,
briefly, there was a post somewhere in one of the groups when we were discussing karma, and this dude posted, and he was very, very familiar with the subject, and I was like, wow, I like the information he provided was really awesome. It had nothing to do with what any of us think karma is.
Exactly.
You know? And basically he was saying that you have to live it and you have to believe in this certain way to even have it affect you. It was really fascinating, and I'm like, I don't believe in this shit. I don't believe in karma, but I can respect the way he expressed it and he explained it. I can respect that, and I respect the people who can follow that. But the people who use it for disempowerment, the people who use it to control, and the people who just puss out because they are scared, because they don't know better, they don't choose to know better, that's not cool. And I don't, karma has no place in witchcraft. That's my view.
As far as I
agree.
understand it, like true witchcraft doesn't really have that many laws that govern like the divine. I don't know. I don't know. I guess if you're considering like Wicca, yeah, they have rules, but that's a religion. I'm talking about like basic like craft, like the craft of witchery. I mean, as far as I know, there's no like universal laws. It's kind of
Well,
like
I
what
think
you believe in, it's going to affect you.
the only laws would be respect yourself, respect your spirits, respect your gods, give your offerings when you need to, and that's pretty much it.
The law of me.
Yeah, I mean,
Respect yourself.
as long as you respect yourself and the energy that you're putting out there and the beings and the things that you are working with, that's it. And if you disrespect them, they'll disrespect you, basically.
Yep.
Absolutely, and I think that's important too because people, when you're working magic, well, let's specifically malediction. I work with spirits. I work with ancestors. I work with deity. I work with, like, even the ingredients I use. I work with the spirit of the plant. If you don't honor them in some way, if you don't keep that relationship, they can take that away from you. They can fuck you up. Like they can reverse that. They can make your life shit because you dishonored whatever you've done. If I think that people don't realize that, and I think that is where some of the shit comes from, where people are scared to do things when it comes back on them because they don't respect themselves, they don't respect their craft, and they don't follow through with the work that they do. They don't honor the ancestor spirits, deities, whatever. They don't honor them for the work that was done. And I think that people need to think about that more often. Another question that we have been asked was, should a witch basically watch their mouth? Should they watch what they say? Because since we are working with power, since we do practice witchcraft often, the things that we say, can they come into fruition? Can they come manifest faster? Should we watch how we interact with people? Anyone?
I'll take this one. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it depends on how much energy you put behind it. First of all, I don't think that everything I say is going to come into fruition and manifest itself. I mean, I just don't think that. If so, everyone is fucked. Be careful, like, because I'm saying, I mean, it's the world will end tomorrow if everything I say or think comes into fruition and manifests. But if you put enough energy and kind of, I think I've touched on it on the page, non-intentional magic, but subliminally you're intending it, but you think you're not intending it, if that makes any sense. Anyway, one of my family members is just a complete jerk off. I hate her. She hates me. We hate each other.
Hey.
But there was a certain time that she really pissed me off, and not even so much as pissed me off. It was hurt my feelings, hurt a lot of my family. It was so many emotions behind the way I was feeling, and I did. I was like, I wish that bitch would die. So. And it's funny now, but it's not funny. Like, I felt really bad about it afterwards. But things happen funny, and it can be coincidence. But the longer I practice, the more I believe that coincidence just doesn't happen.
No such thing.
She pissed me off. Basically, she came to. It was about my grand. Anyway, I'm not gonna tell you the backstory. It's long and drawn out. But anyway, she came to my work and acted stupid in front of my boss, pissed me off. So basically, when I said that, the exact time and date that I said that, but a week after that, she stroked out, like literally, like she had a stroke. And I don't mean to laugh.
I'm not.
It could have been because she's so crazy and she made herself so high strung too. That doesn't help.
Well, yes, it could be. But see, she's evil. Like you want to talk about evil person? Like I hate. People say witches are evil. No, we give you a fucking chance. Like greed is a terrible thing, and she's a very greedy person. She's not so high strung.
I can relate to
Uh,
that.
she's very anyway. Her personality just she's like 40 something, like or young relatively. No reason for her to have a stroke. No prior like conditions that would cause that to happen. I thought it was terrible and funny at the same time because now she's in physical therapy and it could have been. I mean, and what I'm saying is, granted, I don't think I personally made a difference in her life and made her have a stroke, but the collective of my family
Right.
wanting something terrible to happen to her when you fuel it with emotions and you're stating your intent out loud inside everywhere, you want these things to happen. I think that negative energy can really, subliminally release from you and go out and harm someone. That's what I'm saying. So
Absolutely. I think I have an aunt that is like that. So, um, sometimes I wish she'd have a stroke. That's horrible. Uh, but no,
that's terrible.
I think it's important for witches to watch what they say because of all the magic that we do, all the work that we do. Our words. This is going to sound horrible. Our words are far more powerful than if a mundane person or someone who doesn't practice magic says things. Because
Yeah.
we have this energy about us, we have this essence that when we say something, and when we get emotional, watch out, it charges it. And that can go out, and then you have all these other people that probably hate the same person, and so your magic, your magic acts like a binding agent. It grabs all this, and boom, they're fucked. I have a friend who no longer practices because when they were young, they were practicing, and they said something to an individual, and it was backed by pure emotion, and this individual was basically killed, hit by a car, gone, and they felt responsible, and they will never practice magic ever again. Even though they feel called to it, they won't ever do it because they felt responsible. And that to me is, I'm not going to say they weren't responsible. I'm not going to say they were because you don't really know. They played a part. We all play a part, especially with our words. Uh, it's something that we do have to be cautious of. I don't think that everything we say is going to happen because there's just too much that we say. But when that
We'd all be rich.
seriously, yes, daydream. Okay, but when we say something that is aligned with all of who we are, when we say something that is aligned with our emotions, with our spirit, and you have other people who are kind of wanting the same thing to happen, that makes it happen even more, happen even faster. So we do have to watch what we say because it can manifest physically fast. Not always, but depending on, your emotional level, depending on what's going on at the time, it very well can occur. Blythe, anything?
No, I agree with everything.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think that, when you say, I hope you die and someone dies, don't feel responsible. It was their time to go. Fuck them, what it happened. Population control.
People die.
People die, it happens. It might have been necessary. Don't feel responsible for all these things that happen. Like, don't feel guilty. You shouldn't. You don't know why certain things happen. It could have been that you were the conduit for this change. So don't feel bad. A lot of people feel bad about it and they won't ever do anything again because they feel responsible. Don't witch the fuck up, grow a pair, don't feel bad, and stop practicing.
I think when something like that happens, it goes along with that thing, that free will thing a little bit. where that person pushed you to that point, so you were meant to lash out and do something against the person, and that is then whatever their consequences is they asked for it, and that was just what was supposed to happen.
Right. Ooh, have y'all used cursing stones? Do you know what cursing stones are? Well, rock.
No, I wanted you to talk about that.
Oh, I was gonna get a rock. Sorry, I don't have a rock. Whatever. Basically, if you go get a rock, this is kind of. Go out.
A real rock, a regular.
Yeah, a regular rock.
A regular rock.
A river rock, whatever, something. Go find a rock that really calls to you, but focus your intent on malediction. And what you would do with this is every time you're angry, every time you're pissed off, you're irate, anytime you have this powerful emotion of rage or anything like that, get the rock, put it in your hand, infuse that rock, pour it into it, with that intent of being for it to help you with any work that you do concerning malediction. Like, it will help you. Like, you can go pick that rock up and boom, you channel that energy fast, because every time you get that rock, it's associated with that specific emotion, that specific energy that you need to curse. Those come in handy so much. And, that's kind of therapeutic, too, because when you're pissed off, you don't know what to do. But if you have that rock you get it, and you just pour it in, it's like, it helps so much. You pour it in, you have that purpose. But don't let it sit around, like, where anyone can pick it up, because that will vibrate a specific energy, and you need to make sure that some kid's not going to get it and get hit with anger and much more.
That's an awesome idea. I'm going to start doing that.
My kids love my crystals, so that is something that I would have to put away, because my kids play with my crystals all the time. That and regular rocks too.
Yeah, I would definitely get like a specific, like a case or something for it, just to treat it, with respect. And that you can go to it when you need it. But they come in handy, especially for people who are not really good at being mad. There are some people who don't know how to be mad. There are some people who don't know how to use their anger. And so if you get mad and you get angry, you can put it all into this, and then when you need to feel that, you need to channel that power, you have a tool that will assist you for that. But they come in handy so much. You can have so much fun with them too. Like, you could even take them and like speak a spell into it, like have it have a purpose, and throw it in a motherfucker's lawn. Go use that, and they will pick it up, hopefully. But you can also charm it in where it won't work on other people, as it has a specific target. So put it on their lawn, put it somewhere near them where they're going to come in contact with, and your magic has been done. It's set. That's another awesome little thing about curses that I like.
Have you heard of people having two sets of magical tools, like one for one set for malediction and another for everything else?
I can see that if you're working with poisons and poisonous things and plants and stuff, so you don't poison yourself by accident. Definitely.
Yes, for different things like that, yes, I would. And there are certain tools that people use in cursing that they don't really use for anything else, like a blasting rod. They'll use that specifically for, curses. So I can do that, but other things like the athame or anything like that, I wouldn't separate it, because I like my tools to be well-rounded. And I don't use a lot of tools, but I like my tools to have that effect. Like, they can address all aspects. Because once I start like singling them out, then it's kind of like they don't really have, I don't know, it's like a person. Like, they don't have that personality. They need to be well-rounded.
My athame does everything with me. Like, everything. If I'm not even using it specifically, and I have a weird attachment to the athame, I really do. But even if I'm not specifically using it in my magical, like, whatever I'm doing, if I'm not using it as a tool, it is within my space, like working with that energy with me. It's like it's literally my Athame is like an extension of me. Everything I've done, my Athame's done with me. Even if, like the other day, I just kind of, I don't use circles. Like I don't cast circles a lot.
Yeah, I don't either.
I do quincunxes or 5 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Very very often, and like that's kind of like my I'll stab my Athame into the ground or into wood or whatever to kind of seal that 5 spot, and just seal that cone of power. You know what I'm saying? So it does everything with me. So if I'm fucking a bitch up, the Athame's gonna do it with me. If I'm helping somebody, it's gonna do, So I think it's important to have well-rounded tools and not. I get the idea about it, and especially like the poison. You don't want to use a mortar and pestle for medicine and poison. But
Yes.
I don't like. I like well-rounded tools as well.
I know, I like your Athame. That's the only. When you posted a picture of your Athame, I'm like, I want one now, damn it. And I have a few, but I don't like them, so I won't work with them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
mine was gifted to me. Like I didn't pick it out. It was my wife gave it to me for Yule one year, and random. I didn't have an Athame. I had talked about buying one, and she found one and bought it for me. Gave it to me for Yule, and I've used it ever since. So I didn't even pick it out. It just kind of comes to you. Those are the best tools.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly.
It was meant to be. That's
okay, so technically we have 25 minutes left because Blythe has to leave at 45. So let's talk about like different techniques when cursing, like just ideas. I know that for people who use the Bible, that shit is amazing for curses. That dude, the god, was horrible. Mean. Exactly, that shit right there. Psalm 79, I know, can be used for the destruction of enemies. I think Psalm 109 can be used. There's a chapter in Judges that is also really good for cursing or malediction. I can't recall. I think it's Judges 16, but I can't remember. But use the Bible. I mean, I know there's a lot of witches who won't use the Bible because blah, 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 but that shit has some really mean stuff. And if I'm cursing someone who is a Christian, sometimes I will implement their belief system into my work. So I will utilize the Bible to curse them because they believe that shit.
Yeah.
So that's gonna root it even deeper because on some level they are bringing it to them. So I like using that when cursing. Sometimes.
The Bible's the most fucked up book.
I know another thing that.
Yeah, it is.
Other things that I have learned from Michael is to get personal concerns from people. I know that you can use discarded food if people leave their stuff out, their handwriting, their hair, cigarette butts. People are dirty and they leave stuff out, and you can grab that stuff if you need to. Another thing, oh shoot, I totally lost it. Oh, use what somebody does not like against them. If somebody does not like a specific thing, you can use that in the curse, and you can use that against the person. And you can also use stuff like pickle jars and anything associated with vinegar if you want to do some kind of container spell, if you're doing anything with any kind of hexing or cursing.
Yes. There's just so many different things that you can do. It's so fun.
I'm super creative. I just do random shit. Like cursing. I get excited about it.
You get excited? Yeah. Well, it is.
Like, what am I going to do today? Oh, that bitch pissed me off. It's time to get my thinking cap on.
You know what's
It helps you be creative, too.
Yeah.
You do. You get when you want to curse someone. You do. You're like, I can use that. I find myself like at work. I don't even know. I'm doing something stupid, and then all of a sudden I will see a product or I'll just read something. I'm like, I could use this to curse this way, or I can use this to do it this way, and it's just fucking shampoo. Huh. I could write a book on cursing with hair products. I really can.
You should.
But like
I'm in graveyards a lot, so I like to use graves. I don't do it formally though. I want formal training. Like I'm gonna buy some books on like I think working in the boneyard you have. I'm gonna buy that just to because I use like if I'm gonna use like graveyard dirt, I will go and find a in cursing. I will find a malicious person that I knew in life that was like, you know, kind of a fucked up person and use that in the working if I'm cursing someone else. And also if you're doing something against, okay, say you're cursing someone, you know, you're being paid to do it, or you know, you have a client that's pro bono, I guess you can call that. If you're doing it just for a client or whatever, if say someone like a child is involved, if you use the ancestors of that child to protect them, then you can also use the ancestors of that child to attack people who may hurt that child. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like if the grandmother has passed away and you know for a fact that she was a very maternal person and would kill for her grandchild, and you're cursing someone who has inadvertently harmed that person, then yeah, use the graveyard dirt there.
Absolutely. And
with permission though, don't fucking just take grave shit. Like get permission.
Oh yes, leave your offerings and yes.
that's why I
video on.
Yeah, that's why I am not a fan of purchasing graveyard dirt. You have to go. I will accept graveyard dirt from people I know and trust, but you really have to go build that relationship and contact that person. It's really hard for me to get graveyard dirt because the people around here do not like anyone at the cemetery. They, especially if you don't have white hair and you look old and like hunched over, they don't like you at the cemetery. They will follow you. They will ask you like, why are you here? They don't like it. So it's hard for me to even be at a cemetery without people watching. So I don't really work with a lot of graveyard dirt. And I don't really know a lot of dead people, and I really have to know someone or know of them to really feel comfortable working with their dirt. And I don't have the time to spend like communicating with the spirit of each individual in the graveyard or finding someone because, again, I'm watched, you know, at the cemetery. But graveyard dirt is very important, very awesome. If you're going to do it, you really do need to build that relationship, ask for it. If they say no, don't take it. You know, don't assume that you can just take graveyard dirt because it's an ingredient.
And I hate when people say like, "Well, how do you know they're giving you permission?" Like you'll know. Like it's if you don't know, you don't need to take it. Like,
Right.
Because you'll know, and you'll know if they say no. I mean, it's instant.
Last year, I actually explored the cemetery near me is ginormous, and as I'm actually I've visited it before, but I've never actually explored it. And I went exploring, and I found that there was actually a section just for Jewish people, and I had no idea this existed. And I had actually planned on, there's like a little creek, it was kind of weird, there was a little place that I'd actually have to physically cross to get to that section, and I was thinking to myself, should I do it, should I not go over there just to look? And I got this really bad vibe to not go over there, so I just didn't. And I just walked the other way. I'm like, alright, not gonna happen.
Absolutely, that's the point. Like, you have to trust those instincts. If you don't, then you're gonna get fucked. Another thing, a lot of people like rose quartz because it's so nice and so soothing, yada yada yada. But you can actually use it to fuck with someone. It's good for emotions, you know. It's good for a heart, you know, connection, whatever. You can use it for the exact opposite. And people don't realize that crystals can be used that way. They think that, oh, it's for a good thing, which it is. But you can also tap into that frequency to change it and to use it for its opposite. Because if something's good for your heart, you can find a way to make it not good for the heart. just with like Chrysocolla, really good for communication. Also good to fuck up communication.
Yep. And same way goes for herbs. Like you can, any herb that can help you can also harm you,
Right.
or harm others. But like going back to crystals, and I just say herbs because I'm more herbs than crystals. But crystals are very receptive to energies, so that's one thing that I would not work with. If I would designate my crystals if I had two chunks of rose quartz. One would be for more positive work, one for the more negative work, because they will pick up. They're so receptive and they kind of cling. They're like crystals are like people. I know that's weird, but they are but they're very one-sided. They're not very good at doing both. I like to designate my crystals.
That makes sense. That kind of goes along with Michael's rock cursing thing too.
Yep.
Another thing, Elisa's told me, it should be, I don't know if she's mailed it out yet, black Tibetan quartz. She said the black Tibetan quartz, more specifically the ones that are pointed, is really good at basically reversing the person's shit back onto them with like an extra kick, which is why I purchased it. It should be coming soon. Wow, there's something else I can't remember.
Another thing to like reverse jinxes or anything like that is you can take Low John and chew it and spit it, and that is said to break, break a curse.
I've used Low John with. Yeah, I've used it with quartz stuff. I have not heard of that. Another thing is too, crystals are sharp. And remember, Michael, you got all bloody on. Crystals are sharp, so you can use them things if you want to, mess with somebody too.
And arrowheads, my
favorite
Indian arrowheads, they're really good for cursing. I've used the ones that we find. I'll use those, I guess because they were created to harm something. So that energy is always present in an arrowhead for me.
Right, they have that bloody history associated with them, so you definitely can tap into that. And that is why I love Black Obsidian so much. There's just so many awesome things you can do. And personal concerns, piss. You don't like it. But it is very powerful. Anything, all bodily fluids, spit, hair. Oh, hair is not bodily fluid, but anything that comes from a body is powerful. And this is going to sound very, it's going to be very mischievous, I guess, and devious, but anyone that you come in contact with, find a way, or you're, pursuing a relationship or anything, find a way to get something of theirs. So if you take them out to lunch, bring baggies with you, get some of their hair, get some of their food, because you never know when you're going to need that shit. I'm sorry, but...
Bring baggies with you.
There's been a couple of times... There's been a couple of times where I was in a relationship with somebody, and when it ended, I'm like, I really wish I had a piece of their personal concerns because I really want to mess with them right now. And it's actually better that I didn't. But yeah, you can use their personal concerns for negative and for positive things, depending on the relationship you have with the person. If you're in a relationship, I would use the personal concerns to try to make a positive change in the relationship, and if that doesn't work, then use it negatively.
Well, yeah, of course.
That's just me.
I'm just saying, be prepared. You don't know when you're going to need something like that, and it's always good to have it on hand.
My question
we're in New Orleans,
would be, yeah, watch everything personal that comes in contact with Michael.
I'm gonna shave my head before we go to New Orleans.
I'm a hairstylist. I'll put my fingers to your hair.
Do you everyone that you come in contact with? Do you have a little piece of them? Like everyone that you know personally?
It sounds really weird.
That's a serious question because it's smart. If you
No, it is. It is.
I do. I try to. I don't.
Make sure you label it.
I do. It's labeled.
Label it very well.
I try to. It depends. I try to. Honestly, I try to because I never know. Like, if I have to work for a friend, if they're in a bind and I need to help them out, I never know when that's going to be. You know, so having something on hand will help me, not just for malediction, but for healing, for anything that I need to do. That is even, it's just far more powerful. So yes, I try and keep a piece of, this is just, whatever, personal concerns are just gross, so whatever. I try to keep a piece of everyone on hand, just because I don't know.
It's smart though, because I mean I know when I'm doing like malediction, like, and I don't have a personal concern because I feel like personal concerns are so important when you're trying to hurt someone. That sounds fucked up, but it's true. Like for example, I despise my sister-in-law. Like I haven't cursed her yet, but she pisses me off like every time I'm around her. I can't stand her. She's terrible. I don't know, and I hate her, and she's I don't know. Anyway, she's a terrible person. Anyway, but like now I feel like when I'm ready to get to that point, that's why I don't like planning shit. But this would be one of those times where you need to plan because you need. Well, you don't, Michael, because you have everyone's personal concerns. But like, but like, the rest of us, if we have to stay really, we have to stay in the zone to go and collect somebody because I like that. That's smart. You're always prepared. To where I want to be.
And it's not. I'm not paranoid. You know, you never know when you're gonna need it. So, I think it's important for people like us, to make a conscious effort to get something like that. Get a piece of hair. Get a piece of clothing. You know, do something, and you never know when you're gonna need it. When it's gonna come in handy.
You can use footprints too. If you have their footprint in dirt, you can scoop up the dirt and you can use that as well. That's a hoodoo trick.
Hot foot powder. It's good. You can use where they've walked. Like, if you know they've stepped there, you can cast on that footprint and, according to sympathy and contagion, it affects them. So, same way with a signature. Signatures are very specific. Like, everyone has their own, kind of like a fingerprint, so...
Yeah, so if you sign something...
I might have to get with you privately about that. We might have to talk about that and learn, and I want to learn more about using the signature and handwriting.
It's fun. That's why I always, like, when... I will make a copy of signatures. Like, if I can. If someone's signing a contract or if they're signing a paper, I will take it and I'll copy it and I will save it. Just like a personal concern. Yep. I will save it. I know, whatever, it is what it is, but I'm prepared. Yeah. I just went blank. I was going to say something and I totally...
When working with a client, that's my first, do you have, the last time I performed a malediction for someone, against someone for someone, that was my first question to them. Do you have a piece of paper that they have signed? Do you have a shirt that they wore? Do you have anything that, the food that they ate? I mean, anything that you can get to me for me to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Well, and also, if you can't get any of that shit, Facebook. You can get a picture,
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You can get a picture, and if you can't find it on Facebook, you can find it somewhere, I'm sure. And that's
these selfies are dangerous. Everybody's posting all these selfies, and it's like you have no idea what people can do with those.
Exactly. See, the thing is, though, if it's another witch, then you could be fucked. Because if you're casting against another witch, they're protected. They should be protected. Common sense will say they are protected. So you take all the pictures you want, but know that they should know how to defend themselves and protect themselves. They would.
Mm.
So I guess when you're doing curse, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even knowing their name and their birthday, if you're doing a paper, you can use their name and their birthday. if you don't have anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess to wrap it up a little, I'll just say whatever we want to say the last few minutes. When doing curse work, it's always good to be prepared. People say that they cleanse and bathe and do that beforehand, but I don't, because I want to use all of that in the working. I will do my cleansing, my protection, whatever I have to do afterwards. I don't like take a cleansing shower and do all of that before the working, because that doesn't make sense to me. Why would I want to clean the slate in order to fuck someone up?
Yep.
I want to be dirty, if that,
Yeah.
you know? So I always make sure, shut up. I always make sure to not do that. I will do that after the work is done. That makes more sense to me. And
Yeah,
did we go over...
I've. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I think you muted yourself, Nimbus. I think you muted yourself. I have lit a protection candle. I've heard do protection candle or do a protection candle for yourself in a different room while you are performing the whatever the curse that you are performing. I've heard of doing that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never done it, but that sounds interesting. I guess to protect the boundary, or protect the perimeter.
Yeah. I think we lost Nimbus River, unfortunately.
I think so too. Bye, Nimbus.
We only have a couple of weeks. Yeah, okay. So I think this was a good show. We could probably talk about this for hours upon hours upon hours.
We can. There's just so much that you can really talk about when it comes to the subject, and there's so many questions that we just can't even address because it's an awesome subject, and there's so many different ways to implement things. But just make sure when you're doing a curse, make sure that you feel justified. Make sure that there's no doubt in your heart, in your spirit, that says, I shouldn't do this. Make sure you know that this is what you're going to do, and you do it. Follow through. Don't doubt yourself. If you doubt yourself, then don't do that shit.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, good. Sorry.
That's okay. Because when you start to doubt yourself after you do any kind of spell work, you will affect the spell. So know what you're doing and continue the positive thoughts towards that spell. This way it doesn't go all wonky on you.
Right, and it's
we were just kind of closing up, Nimbus. We're kind of
Any last minute thoughts you'd like to impart or express concerning the topic of malediction?
If at the rare occasion that you are cursed or someone is cursed, Psalms 37, good. Mirror work, that works really good. Black salt is really good. It neutralizes energy. In the rare event that you're actually cursed. So, remember that.
Okay.
Oh, and thank you guys very much.
I'm right.
Both of you.
No, thank
and
you.
Mel, I know Mel's not here, but thank you guys for this. This was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm sorry that I had to leave and then cut out one time.
It's all good. It happens.
Yeah, Mel got stuck on public transport. She was going to be here, but she got stuck in England somewhere. There's a lot of cursing in that. She's
What's a
very
bollocks?
I'm not exactly sure. So next week we are going to be talking about newbies and what it is to be new to the craft, and I also would like to cover how seasoned practitioners can, I don't want to use the word deal, but can deal with people that are new and the questions that they have. So we will be talking about that next week.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome show. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have fun with all this newbie shit.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions about anything like basic witchery or anything, if you're just getting started, just send us your questions. I have the event already created, so come join the event, join the group. We'll talk. I'll do my best to answer any and all questions that you have. I can't promise that I'll get to them all, but send us a message.
Yep, and you have to comment on the YouTube so you can be entered in our giveaway for, I kind of wrapped his hair around him, for the poppets. And this is going to be for a custom, so you're going to talk to her and she's going to make what you need for yourself. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you to Nimbus for coming on our show, and I hope that we get to have you again.
Yeah. Anytime that y'all need somebody or you think I'm right for the conversation, just let me know.
I guess when we want to talk about dead things, dead turtles.
Yeah, I think we should. I think
we should have brought my turtle inside so you could see him.
Okay, I do have to get going.
Okay, so anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for all that shit, and we'll see you next week, peeps. Peace out.
Bye.